Howdy everybody, welcome back to the channel. I am going to welcome you back today. I'm getting ready to do an upgrade to the PC800. It wasn't something I was originally planning to do when I bought it, but after riding it in the dark a few times, it really needs an upgraded LED headlight. I bought a pack of LED bulbs. I'll leave a link to where I got these. They're not terribly expensive. I think they were like $39 for a pair. So I put one on my rat interceptor, and it made a huge difference. And I'm going to install the other one in this one. Between the fact that this bike is so much lower than my other bikes, and that the headlight is just old, and it just seems dim, I've gotten spoiled by my new bikes. So the headlight on this one really seems lacking. If you want a full detailed set of instructions that go really slow on how to get to the headlight on these bikes, there's a channel called TradeWind64. I'll put a link to that as well. He gives extremely super detailed instructions on how to get light out. But basically there's two tools you'll need to get to it. One is a 5mm hex driver, and the other one is a crosshead GIS screwdriver. There's a lot of disassembly required for this thing. A lot more than I would normally like. So you come around here to the mirror. It's hard to see. You push the mirror all the way in. Down inside of here are some screws. You'll reach in. And get those loose. There's one. As always, when dealing with all these plastics, be careful. Things come loose or snap loose. You also don't want to drop your screws down in the fairing and wind up having to take the whole motorcycle apart to get to them. Right here, we'll have to remove the connector for the turn signal. It comes off. And one of the grommets popped out here with a standoff spacer is what it really is. It's not really a grommet. A grommet is rubber. These are standoff spacers. They keep the plastic from compressing when you put the screws back in. I blew that back on before I put it back together. Okay, with both the mirrors removed, the next step is to remove this screw here on both sides that holds this plastic trim off. You're going to take your 5mm Allen key. Okay, the next step is to remove the vent here. There are 2 screws in here. So take your crosshead screwdriver and loosen them. I'm going to not completely remove them. They had to be loosened a little further than what I had loosened them, but still, just leave them into place. Leave them in place. That way, they don't get lost or vanish on you. Of course, when dealing with any plastic on these things, especially as old as they are now and brittle, be very careful pulling the things apart. Set it in a safe place. Now apparently the different standoffs are different lengths right here, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. This standoff right here, as you can see, these parts may be different lengths, so you want to make sure you always put those back in the same hole you took them out of. So I'm going to lay them out on the workbench in order as I remove them. As you can see, these 2 are actually much longer than the one that was in the center, so you want to keep them in the right space. If you don't, it'll crack plastics, which are just about irreplaceable. This one has some kind of aftermarket antenna on the side here that somebody had installed on it in the years past. I'm not sure where it came from or what it's for, or if this is a factory windshield or not. So for now, what I'm going to do is when I take the windshield loose, I'm just going to lay it over. See, okay, this windshield has a slot in it. That means I didn't have to completely loosen that one like I thought. Well, that's okay. No. Pull this out. It appears to all be a little sticky. Well, since the windshield is securely in place, I'm going to go ahead and take this strip all the way off. The windshields are not always so tightly in place on these things. There's an extra spacer over here. Now just carefully wiggle the windshield loose. It is stuck to the gasket under here. As I said, mine has a communication cable on it. So for right now, I'm just going to set it up like this. Okay. Then this gasket will come out. We have a couple more JIS screws. These are the screws with the standoffs built into them. Now once again, carefully remove the plastics. A little wiggle and they should come out, but you want to be careful not to snap any of the tabs off. At first I was hoping that I could have changed this light from the bottom, but it's just a bit tight in there, as you can see. But before I actually change the light, I'm going to do a short video. So I'm going to turn the light on a second and let you see what it looks like, and then we'll see a before and after comparison of the brightness. Now let's go ahead now and switch this thing on. And just look at the headlight, which you can see what I'm saying. There's nothing wrong with it for 1994 standards, but by 2024 standards, it's kind of dim. Changing out the headlight bulb itself is fairly simple. You'll pull out the rubber boot and all that. So I'm not going to force you to sit here and look at my backside as I bend over this thing. I'll show you the differences once I get it out. Okay, well here in my hand is the original H4 halogen bulb. And here is the new LED bulb. Very different appearance. When you're putting LED bulbs, especially if you're using one that's not specifically made for your make and model of motorcycle and they have the cooling fans on the back, you need to verify that there's enough room behind the headlight for it to go in. In this case, there is. I'm going to go ahead and get this wiggled into place. I'm going to have to modify the rubber boot slightly to fit over it, but it should work well. Okay, we got the light installed. I haven't put the rubber boot back on yet, but I wanted you to see this because there is plenty of room in the Pacific Coast fairing for an LED headlight with a small fan on it. So that gives you an idea of how much room you have in there to look at. Now let's turn this light on and see how it looks compared to the original. Okay, that's on low beam. Even then, it seems much brighter. It doesn't have the yellow haze to it. It's more of a clear light. And that is on high beam. And I haven't done anything extra like polish the headlight or anything like that. It's glass. All it would need would be cleaning anyway. But I think the LED headlight mod is worth doing. I'm going to order another windshield for this thing. I will probably get it from my online partner, Webike Japan. They have their 24th anniversary sale going on right now. And there's a special coupon code which will appear at the end of the video and will be in the description below. So check it out, because they don't just have parts for Japanese bikes. They have stuff for Royal Enfields, Vespas, Ducatis, Harley Davidsons, you name it, they have it. And they don't just do custom parts, they have OEM parts too. I'll probably buy a new windshield from them so I can get rid of this antenna here. So that's it for today. I'm going to put this back on, which is the reverse of the disassembly. I'm not going to show you the reassembly steps. Watch the first half of the video backwards. Make sure you put all the bolts and all the standoff spacers back in the holes that they came out of, and you'll be just fine. That, and work carefully and don't snap any plastics. Well, that's it for now. I want you to keep riding, keep wrenching, and stay crazy.